Hello and welcome to SportsWeek. I'm Harry Jones and here is all of the latest sports coverage from around Hampshire. Eastleigh FC returned to home action on Saturday as they welcomed mid-table Southend United to the Silver Lake Stadium. Jude Richards was there.
With Jason Bristow managing his last game in charge as interim boss, the Spitfires couldn't have got off to a better start, with Bournemouth loanee Brennan Camp setting up Harry Pritchard on 9 minutes to net his 6th of the season. As the second period kicked off, Southend responded, Afghanistan international Dor Hewson equalising from 25 yards in the 61st minute. Danny Whitehall was then seemingly brought down in the box, with the referee controversially waving away. In the final minutes, 36-year-old veteran striker Tyrone Barnett headed just wide. Full time at the Silver Lake, Eastleigh 1, Southend 1.
I think the lads can be really pleased with the effort, the application and the performance. To be honest, I thought they played some really good stuff at times. We created a number of chances, particularly towards the end of the game. Scored a really good goal. But these moments in games, the players got to take a little bit of heart from that and continue to believe that they're going to turn things around.
Jude Richards, Winchester News Online.
Sholing FC played at home this weekend as they received a visit from a Melksham Town side who are unbeaten in their last 5. Taylor Sinclair was our reporter at the game.
We welcome both teams onto the pitch today, and the mascots for today are the Sholing Under 11 Black.
Saturday's game saw the clash between Sholing and Melksham Town as they both looked to gain a vital 3 points to edge closer to the playoff places. But it was the Boatmen with the first clear opportunity of the game, testing the opposition after a poor back pass by Melksham's number 4. Late in the half, the pressure mounted for Melksham Town with set pieces causing an issue affected by the conditions. Eventually, the Boatmen broke the deadlock with a free kick sailing through the Melksham defence with help from the 6-yard box bouncing over the opposition keeper, with Ryan Cluett scoring his first league free kick of the season. The second half started as the first ended with a goal in the 46th minute from top scorer Daniel Mason, taking him up to 14 goals in all competitions for the season. Chances were being created by the home side, with the usually composed Bradley Target failing to find the back of the net, which would have taken him to a milestone 10 goals this season. Despite the missed opportunity, Target's link-up play on the left-hand side led to a very well-executed move by Sholing, who added to the scoreboard, making it 3 on the day, finished by number 7, Stuart Green. The lead was quickly extended, with a pullback falling to skipper Byron Mason, whose shot underneath the glaring sun trickled in off the post, adding to the Melksham misery. A great afternoon for the side in red and white, capped off in the last minutes of the game, with a square pass to Connor Whitley, who found the net after a deflection from the opposition defender. Full time, Sholing 5, Melksham Town 0.
The first half we were trying out a new formation. It didn't really work for us, so we went back to what we know and what we're good at, and I think everybody saw that the end result was worthwhile, changing the formation to achieve that. So yeah, I was really pleased second half. Clean sheets, that's what we're always about. 9 times out of 10 we win matches sort of 1-0, 2-0. I think we've had 18 clean sheets so far, so really pleased with that today.
Saturday's win saw the Boatmen reaching 3,000 points in the club's history since their first league campaign back in 1961-62 season, also ending a run of 4 games without a win, running back to the 25th of January. Next up they face Slimbridge side, who sit 10th in the league, a tough game for both sides with goals expected. Taylor Sinclair, Winchester News Online.
Basingstoke Town faced a stern test on Saturday afternoon with league leaders Bracknell Town visiting the Winklebury Sports Complex. Patrick Hill went down to training to see how preparations were going ahead of the fixture, and Jude Richards was our man at the game.
Basingstoke Town were hard at work this week as they prepared for their upcoming game against top of the league Bracknell Town. George Reid, who picked up a knee injury at Chipstead, is expected to be out of action for another week. However, strikers Connor Lynch and Stephen Brown, who are both injured, will come close to their return, according to manager Dan Brownlee. Basingstoke will have their advantage of hosting the Robins at their own home.
We're the underdog, so you can't go all out attacking because you just get unpicked. So there's going to be a slightly different approach, but to be fair, the last 5 games we've come up against some good sides, the likes of Chertsey was sitting 2nd or 3rd, I think. So the game won't change too much from where we were on Saturday, but the luxury is we're at home, so we can play a little bit more football than the cabbage patches that we've played on in recent weeks.
This will be the second time Basingstoke Town faced Bracknell this season, as they lost 2-1 away back in November. It was a tough game, with Stefan Brown scoring an 88th minute equaliser, but was cancelled out by a 90th minute winner by Bracknell Town centre-back Daniel Bayliss. Basingstoke's number 6, Darryl Wallace, faced a red card which set his team down 10 men in the fixture.
I think we felt hard done by coming off that game with a loss. The red card, I think on 70 minutes, played a big part in that. At that stage it was 0-0, and I thought we had certainly the rub of the green and we were on top. So it's not like it's a revenge mission by any stretch, but hopefully we can learn from what we did in that game and what we implemented well, and hopefully replicate it at the weekend.
Basingstoke Town are in great form at the moment, remaining undefeated in their last 5 games. However, they now face top of the league, Bracknell Town. Patrick Hill, Winchester News Online.
Top of the league Bracknell Town travelled to Basingstoke, who are without leading goalscorer Connor Lynch, as they look to push into the playoff spots. The home side was straight out the blocks as McCoy Palmer raced through on goal, shooting just wide of the mark. Bracknell top scorer and star player Seb Bowerman threatened all day, the first of his efforts saved by Paul Strudley. Bowerman wouldn't be kept down for long, however, this individual effort capping off what had been a fine performance by the Robins forward, what had been a tight and congested game so far. Basingstoke replied almost straight away as Brad Wilson's shot agonisingly went past the post. A frustrating game for the hosts. Full time, Basingstoke Town 0, Bracknell Town 1.
And I can't fault the effort of the boys. I thought they were magnificent in terms of spirited performance. They left everything out on the pitch, and we said at the end of the game, if we come off on the losing side but have given it our all, then that's all you can ask for as a manager. So disappointed with the result, absolutely, but ultimately that won't define our season.
A disappointing defeat for Basingstoke Town means they remain in 4th. Next up, they face Uxbridge Town, who sit in 3rd. A crucial game for the Stokes. Jude Richards, Winchester News Online.
The Winter Olympics have been taking place over the last month, and our reporter Max Rumbold went down to the local ski slope to get some reaction on Team GB's performance in Beijing this year.
Beijing's 2022 Winter Olympics concluded on the 20th of February, seeing Norway take home most medals with a total of 37. Team GB, however, have a slightly more disappointing experience, winning only 2 medals during the Games. They found both their medals within curling, with the women's team striking gold and the men's finding silver. Despite finishing 19th overall, the same ranking as 3 previous Winter Olympics, with a target of 3 to 7 medals, it's understandable why some fans may have felt disappointed with Team GB's campaign this year.
you think about grassroots football, there's not that same level of support as there is for winter sports. So I think that could be maybe a factor in our performance in the Winter Olympics, because it's just harder for people to get into it, right? It's quite expensive, right? And it's quite inaccessible for a lot of people. And if you don't have, I would say, parents or places to go that make it cheaper to compete and to practice, then it can be quite hard to get like a wider pool of athletes to choose from, right?
They were set out with a target of 3 to 7 medals these games, but only managing to win 2. Despite this, Team GB look ahead to 2026 as we all look forward to seeing them back in action once more. Max von Bolt, Winchester News Online.
The Winchester 10k run successfully took place last weekend despite the interference of heavy winds. Tyler Reynolds went down to see how the runners fared in one of the most exciting events on the calendar.
4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Winchester's High Street was a hub for runners last weekend as the 10-kilometre event took place, with almost 1,000 people taking part.
The race was one lap around Winchester, with contestants starting at the King Alfred statue and finishing at the North Walls Recreation Centre, where they were greeted with refreshments, a medal and a complimentary t-shirt.
With only 5 months separating last year's and this year's events, competitors were given a great opportunity to stay motivated and continue training right where the last event left off. However, with COVID being ever present, training was often inconsistent and cut short.
I tried to. I think that was kind of curtailed by COVID getting in the way and whatnot, but yeah, did some training, did 2 10Ks to begin with, but that's it. So this is my first 10K race, so I trained the distance.
Past COVID, I've sort of slowed down with my running, so I'm starting to get back into it. And this year, my goal is to get a half marathon, so this is sort of the start of the journey towards that, I suppose.
Challenging Events recently announced that 2023's event will begin on the 19th of February, and with COVID restrictions completely removed, participants will hope that they can train without as many interruptions. Tyler Reynolds, Winchester News Online.
The Basingstoke Bison have been in home action twice over the last couple of weeks, and Ed Brown and Kurt Hill went down to the Planet Ice Silverdome Arena to see how they got on.
The Basingstoke Bison hosted the Milton Keynes Lightning on Wednesday night. It was an aggressive grudge match after their brawl in Buckinghamshire the previous Saturday ended in an 8-4 Bison win. The Bison were on the pressure early with 6 shots on goal in the first period. Alex Samford and James Griffin got into it after the whistle, after some contact with the goalkeeper. Just the tip of the iceberg for action tonight. The Bison finally broke through. A nice move from George Norcliffe sets up Aidan Doughty to put the puck away. More handbags between Alex Roberts and Adam Leishram after an awkward hit into the boards. Start of the third and the Lightning notch another goal. This shot from Cowley clearly striking the crossbar and coming back out, but the officials give the goal. The fighting wasn't done. Jay King with a submarining style hit on Morris before getting piled on by the Lightning. After a 5-minute penalty for King, he leaves the penalty box and drops his gloves with the first MK player he sees, Barnes Garner being his target for this fight. After this loss, the Bison hosted the Bees on Saturday night. Kurt Hill has more.
Coming off the back of 2 straight defeats, the Bison hope to do better against their local rivals, the Bees. It got off to a bad start for the home side as only a minute in, James Galazzi stung the Bison and gave the Bees an early lead. And they looked like they could double their advantage. However, the Bison were able to pull it back as George Norcliffe provided an excellent pass, which Aidan Doughty was able to calmly slot home. The Bison took flight. Adam Harding putting them into the lead with a sweet strike. Going into the second period, Alex Roberts gave the Bison the perfect start, firing them into a 2-goal advantage within just 25 seconds. But the game was not over yet. Lindgren gave the Bees some hope that they could come buzzing back. But with 2 more goals by man in form Aidan Doughty, he completed his Derby Day hat-trick and made sure the Bison got the win.
We always love playing against the Bees, and it's always great to beat them. Take this into the next game, obviously away in Peterborough tomorrow, small rink. We're just got to carry on the momentum and hopefully keep going, into the playoffs. Not long now, is it?
The Basingstoke Bison recorded a 5-2 victory over their closest rivals, the Bracknell Bees, much to the delight of the supporters here at the Basingstoke Arena. Goals from Roberts, Harding and an Aidan Doughty hat-trick stopped any doubts of the Bison not being victorious tonight. They looked a completely different side from the team that lost to Milton Keynes 5-1 a few days ago.
And finally, we got an inside look at the final chance for Carters to get their eye in before shifting gears into a new season of competition. Tom Hooker went to see the action.
Forest Edge Kart Club got the green flag for their pre-season test, for many drivers to get their first taste of karting this year. The day saw a range of machinery take to the track, and drivers with varying levels of experience.
I think everyone seems super supportive. Whenever I come to a practice day, everyone's so chatty and they're always willing to help out. I really want to gain the experience at the moment.
I want to be an F1 driver and then try and win a championship and stuff and be like Lewis Hamilton. Some lines I'm not very good at the minute, but I'm learning them and I'm getting faster. I'd like to do like Formula 3 and start winning.
All 9 rounds of the club's championship will be at the circuit in Hampshire, a tricky low-speed technical track that punishes the drivers if they don't nail its hotspots.
One of the hardest corners on the track is Haynes Loop. It's a very long corner. On the entry to it, you've got to make sure you're far over to the left so you can carry the maximum speed through the corner. Take a late apex and make sure you don't overcompromise yourself too much. Make sure you're on the right so you can get the maximum speed into Johnny's, a fast left-hand corner coming up. So after negotiating Johnny's, you then come to Winger's Dip. This is actually one of the most technical corners on the track. After speaking to a couple of karters, there's actually not a lot of grip if you first approach the corner, and then the kart then turns the grip up. Okay, so gone to the back straight here, the karts will be flying past, and the gearbox karts will be doing up to 120 miles an hour here, which is crazy when you think they're about this high off the ground. The smaller karts though that are going on at the moment, they'll be tackling the bus stop chicane. And this is a corner that's a tricky compound corner. You don't want to get too greedy on that first apex.
Then it's on to the fast right-handers of midgets and climate before the tight hairpin of Tollies to finish the lap.
So a chance for karters young and old to get their wheels in motion as the season kicks off on the 6th of March with the first round of the Forest Edge Kart Club Championships. Tom Hooker, Winchester News Online.
Well, that's all we've got for this week. Thanks for watching. See you next time.